People think the secret to making money online is getting more followers, but that is actually not true. In fact, some of the smallest creators are making more money than people with huge audiences. That sounds backwards, but it makes sense once you understand one thing. Wide is not the same as deep. A wide audience means a lot of people see you. A deep audience means the right people trust you. And trust is what makes money, not just attention. So in this video, I want to show you why chasing viral content is often overrated, why small creators can win big, and what to do instead if you actually want to make money online. The big mistake. Most people are playing the wrong game. They think the goal is to reach as many people as possible, so they make broad content, safe content, shallow content that almost anyone can watch for a few seconds. That kind of content can get views, but views do not always turn into customers. Think about the most viral content online. Funny clips, drama, trends, random entertainment. That kind of content gets attention, but attention alone does not mean people will buy from you. 1 million people watching something does not matter much if none of them need what you sell. Now compare that to a creator with a much smaller audience. Maybe they teach one very specific thing. Maybe they solve one clear problem. Maybe they help one exact type of person. That creator might get fewer views, but those views are more valuable because they come from the right people, and the right people buy. Why smaller can be better. A small audience that trusts you is better than a huge audience that barely knows you. That is the part most people miss. Some creators are talking to everyone, and because of that, they connect deeply with no one. Other creators talk to one type of person with one type of problem, and those people feel like the content was made just for them. That is where the money is. Not in being the loudest, not in being the most viral, but in being the most useful to the right person. You do not need millions of followers to make real money. A lot of people would have their best year ever if they got just a handful of ideal customers. Not 10,000, not 1 million, just a few of the right ones. That is how most real businesses work. A local service business does not need millions of clients. They just need the right people. Online works the same way. But people forget that because social media makes everyone compare themselves to giant creators. Why niching down works. A lot of creators are scared to niche down. They think narrowing their message means limiting their growth, but the truth is the opposite. When your message is too broad, it gets ignored. When your message is specific, it gets attention. Think about being in a crowded room. If someone shouts random words, you tune it out. But if someone says your name, you notice right away. Specificity cuts through noise. That is why clear messaging wins. The more clearly you speak to one person, the more likely that person is to stop and listen. And here's the weird part. When you speak clearly to one person, a lot of other people who are similar will listen too. So going narrow at first does not trap you. It helps you break through. That is how almost every big brand or big creator grows. They usually start with one thing, one message, one topic, one audience. Then later, after they build trust and momentum, they expand. But most people try to expand first, and that is why they stay stuck. Here is a good way to think about it. Imagine there is a giant wall in front of you. On the other side is growth, money, trust, and momentum. Most creators try to break through that wall by hitting it in 100 different places. They talk about this today, that tomorrow, something else next week. They post for different audiences. They change direction every few days. So what happens? They bounce off the wall. Because they are spreading their effort too thin. The smarter move is to hit the same spot over and over again. One problem, one person, one message, one offer. That is how you actually break through. Once you break through in one area, then you can expand, but not before. Here is the money math nobody talks about. Now let's talk about money, because this is where it gets really interesting. Most creators think the easiest way to make more money is to get more followers. But often the easiest way is to serve your current audience more deeply. Here is a simple example. Let's say you have 100 people who buy something from you for $30. That gives you $3,000. Most people would say the next step is obvious. Go find another 100 people. But there is another option. What if 10% of those people would gladly buy something better from you for $300? That would be 10 people paying $300. That is another $3,000. You just doubled your revenue without finding a single new customer. Now go one step deeper. What if one of those people would pay for a premium offer at $3,000? Now you added even more revenue from the same audience. This is the real game. Not always reaching more strangers, but helping the people who already trust you at a deeper level. Because strangers are the hardest people to sell to. People who already trust you are much easier to serve. What to do if you have 0 followers? Now, maybe you are thinking, that all sounds good, but what if I am just starting? Good, this still works. If you have 0 followers, do not start by trying to be famous. Start by getting clear on who you help. Who is your ideal person? What do they struggle with? What do they want? Then make one great piece of content for that person. Not 10 mediocre videos, one great one. Make it so helpful that if the right person sees it, they immediately feel understood. Then give them one clear next step. Book a call, send a message, download something, apply to work with you. And after that, do not just wait for the algorithm. Share it directly. Send it to people you know. Ask friends if they know someone who needs it. Post it where the right audience hangs out. The goal is not to impress the internet. The goal is to help the right person. Because one right customer can be worth more than thousands of random viewers. The mindset shift. At the end of the day, this is not just a business problem. It is also an ego problem. A lot of people secretly want the big numbers because big numbers feel good. They look impressive. They feel like proof. But you have to decide what game you are really playing. Are you trying to look important? Or are you trying to build something profitable? Because those are not always the same thing. Sometimes the creator with the smallest audience is building the strongest business. Because they are not chasing vanity. They are building trust. And trust pays. Closing. So no, having 100,000 followers is not always better than having 1,000. Not when it comes to making money. The better question is this: do the right people trust you? If the answer is yes, you do not need a giant audience. You need clear messaging. You need a specific niche. You need content that solves real problems. And you need offers that go deeper, not just wider. That is how small creators make big money. Not by chasing everyone, but by becoming valuable to someone specific. And if you do that well enough, growth still comes. But now it comes with revenue.